Today I'm going to talk about image slicing again, but I'm going to talk about it in a little bit of a different way. I'm going to talk about how to slice your Photoshop document for just the navigation. So if you're using rollovers for your navigation, how to slice your images, and instead of just saving out the images, we're also going to save out the HTML. So I'd like to show you how that works, and I'm going to use the Cupcake Mama example, that web page, and there is a Photoshop file in the class notes, so I'm going to download that and save that to my desktop. Okay, so here is the zip file. It's called cm_pricing_final.psd. So I open that zip file, and it is a Photoshop file, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up in Photoshop. And you might have seen it ask me to update, and so I clicked OK for that. I want to look at the layers, so I'm going to open up the window for layers, and again we're going to take a look at this Photoshop file first of all. And again, what you should notice about this file is that all of our elements are on separate layers. So notice again, if I turn off all of these layers, I only have here my white background. The next layer adds my pink background, the stripes, the white page, the border, the text, the logo, the navigation, the main image. So everything is on separate layers. And let me just click open the navigation folder, and let's look at that also. What is also important for you to see here, and I'm going to again turn off all of these layers first of all, is that my navigation is on separate layers. So I have my what's called an off state for my navigation for my home page, and I also have the on state. So the on state here, you'll notice, is the pink text with the little swirl. The off state is the brown, which shouldn't have the swirl. So notice here how my navigation is all on separate layers, both my off and my on state. Okay? Now this is really important because I'm going to be slicing this Photoshop document, and I want to be able to save out all of my navigation separately. So I want to be able to save out all of my off states here and also all of my on states. So I want to have them on separate layers so I can indeed turn them off and on. Okay, so my example here for image slicing is how to just slice the navigation. And so I'm going to zoom in on that navigation on this page to demonstrate. Now this is a fairly simple navigation. Sometimes you'll have a more complex navigation, and because with table structure I normally suggest that you put your navigation in its own separate table, and then you'll probably nest that into another table cell. Oftentimes I will slice my navigation separate from the rest of the page, and we're going to see in a moment what's great about Photoshop is, again, not only will it save out your images, but it will also create HTML for you. Okay, so this is my navigation here, and because I am only doing my navigation, I'm going to do something that I'll explain in just a second, which is I am going to actually crop this Photoshop document. So now I only have my navigation. And again, the reason I'm doing this is because in the example I'm showing you right now, I am only slicing my navigation. And once I create the slices for both my off and my on states, Photoshop is also going to save out this table that I will need to set up my navigation like this. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean. And again, this is really simple navigation. If you had navigation that ran horizontally across your page, you could simply select that horizontal navigation bar and crop it from your Photoshop document like I've done here, so you can just be slicing only your navigation. So I'm going to select my slice tool, and first one I'm going to slice is my home button. Oops, okay. Okay, so let me just back up here a second, because I've just noticed that we're going to want to modify this. And the reason we're going to want to modify this is, watch what happens when I turn on my on state. See how I'm missing my little swirl? So let me go back here and undo this, because we definitely have a problem here, that because we're not going to be able to include our little pink swirl. See that, how I've cropped out that pink swirl? So let me back up. Thank goodness for our undo state. And what I really want to crop here, and maybe I'll use the rulers to make this more clear, is starting from about here, and I actually want to go off to the left enough so that I can get my swirl in there. So fortunately I realized that before I got too far along here. Okay, so now I'm going to crop it. Okay, so very important that you are indeed including all of your navigation, including the on state. So now again I'm going to crop this. Okay, so now I've done it correctly. So now I'll be able to slice this because both your off and your on states for your navigation have to rest in the exact same location. So even for my off state, even though it doesn't have that pink swirl, I still have to make my slice include that, because with the rollover it will have the pink text and the pink swirl. And we'll kind of see more about that when I insert it into the page.